So on my way home today, I could feel something was off with one of my tires, and come to find out, we're a little bit low, and I can see that I've got some slime around the outside of my front wheel. So I wanted to show you guys how easy it is to change these out. And it's probably an issue that, it's probably a problem that I have gotten so good at these, but usually I can change one of these in about a half hour and be back on the road again. So if you want to know if you can do it yourself, follow me. Don't lose your bolts. One of the important things whenever you're doing something like this is you want to make sure that you're not putting added stress on the connections going into your front motor. I grabbed the wrong side. It's actually on this side. So I usually have it on a stand while I'm doing that part, and then I'll take it off when I do the next part. Man, these things are heavy. Okay. And just put it on its side. When we get to this point, we're just going to take it. And you can see there's all that slime right there, which means that it probably popped right around the valve here. But now we deal with our disc. I like to use Torx bits on everything. I can't stand the Allens. Back there. Brake disc off. Now, what we're going to do is come over here. Going to take this valve. We're going to deflate a little bit. We don't want to have pressure going places we don't want it. At least the sealant did its job on my way home. Alright, so before we take this off, you got to make sure that you don't have your cap on, or otherwise it's going to get stuck. And make sure that all of these are loose. Then you should be able to pull the whole thing out. Boop! Just like that. And there is slime all inside here, so I'm going to have to go and wash that out. I didn't show you guys washing it off, but proof that I did it. So, one thing that I'm noticing here is that we have this fold, with this being a permanent kind of a crease here, and with there being some seepage right there with the slime. So seeing that, I can tell that there was just an impact or a bump which added adverse amount of pressure and popped it right there. Always, always, always have extra tubes. That way, if something like this happens, you can fix it real quick and get back on the road. When it comes to this part, one thing that I do is I will add just a tiny bit of air in here, just so that it's not going in flat. There we go. So that's enough right there. Make sure that you're in the correct orientation for your wheel. And yeah, so we go like that. And you're going to be on this side. Stick that tube in. Alright, there we go. The reason that we stick the tube in and inflate a little bit is so that when we put it back on here, we're not going to pinch the inner tube with the seam that we make between the rim and the hub. Find your hole. Find this guy. Gonna stick that in, and then we're gonna put one of the caps on just to hold it in place. Now that we've done that, we're gonna take our rim, stick that where it needs to be, and put all these guys in. We don't want to go around in a circle like this. We want to skip one. So we'll do this one, skip, then we'll do this one. Skip, then this one. Once we do that, then we'll move over one and get the ones that we missed. That way we're making sure to put this on the correct way. Now that we have everything screwed down, there's one of two things that we can do. We can either add air and fill it up that way, or we can add some slime. Because the slime is what made it so I was able to get home safely, I'm going to add slime. It's just a little extra step, but it makes the world of difference, especially if, you know, you have a flat. I'm just going to grab a skinny screwdriver. This I'm going to prop gently underneath this little valve so that it doesn't slip back inside the wheel. I've had that happen before. It's not fun. Okay, so if you get the slime, then you can come in here. It has the tool and the cap, and we just unscrew the valve that's in there. All right, so that's a Schrader valve, and we're able to take that off and add some slime. And it really doesn't matter what brand you have. You can get slime, you can get armadillos, whatever. But having something like this in there is going to be super helpful. All right, and there we go. We're on the valve, and we squeeze. On scooter tires, I typically will do about 1/4 of the bottle, and that's it. So that's about good. Try not to make a mess. Put this guy back in. It seriously is so quick to do that there's really no excuse not to. So, highly recommend that you do that for yourself. And now that we've done that, we're just going to spin it around. The purpose of that is it helps to coat the entire inside of the wheel around and make it so that you have full coverage for that slime. Okay, now I'm just going to add some air. And I like doing this before I get the brake on there, because I have had it happen where I have gotten it all done, thought everything was good and gravy, and then it was pinched in that inner rim and hub, so I had to do it all over again. You learn a lot about your scooter when you get flats. Alright, yep. Proper tire pressure. Done. Cool. So now we have that in there, and we're going to turn it back over and do the brakes. Alright, and we'll just get all these screws in here. Go in a nice little pattern. We're going to do the same thing we did on the hub by skipping and then doing these ones last. Alright, when we're putting it back in, we want to make sure that the brake disc is going in between the two brake pads, and make sure that we have the thicker washers on for the inside. So, just get ourselves lined up here. We're inside there. Give ourselves a little twist. Alright, and we're in. Now that we're in, we're going to take these ones. They have the hook ends on them. And we're going to push this guy back because he wants to slip out. Hook end goes in here. Hook end goes in here. And going to make sure that they're in the same spot. So typically, once I get those hook washers in, I will push them in and then push the wheel forward. That way it's not sideways at all. If you have a fender, or in my case a very dirty one, let me just clean that off real quick. Into one side at a time, stretch. There's one side, and now the other, stretch. Don't do them both at the same time. That's how I broke the last one. Okay? Now little washer, nuts. One last thing before I forget, you're going to hear some rubbing with your brake rotor because we've just realigned everything. So what you're going to want to do is loosen this up, loosen up the back one, make sure that your caliper is moving freely on there. And what we're going to do, the best trick that I have found to make it so that you get the least amount of brake noise as possible, is we're going to go up here, we're going to hit the brake, and then tighten everything down as we hit the brake. Brake for the front. There we go. So once we've done that and retightened, you are going to notice just a little bit of rubbing, especially if you have been riding for a while, but that'll go away very quickly and it'll be smooth sailing after that. You know, I always start with gloves and take them off. Really should just keep them on the whole time. But everything said and done, this was done in 25 minutes if we don't count washing out my wheel. 30 minutes if I do count washing out the wheel and everything. This is something you can do yourself. It's really not hard. You don't need a whole lot of tools. Screwdriver, wrench. You can have a drill. You don't need it. And some Allen wrenches. That's it. Plus the tubes, and you can be back on the road. This is easy enough for you to do yourself, and as long as you make sure that everything is torqued properly and tight, you won't have to worry about it coming apart on you while you're going down the road. If any of you have any questions, feel free to ask. We have a huge community here to help. And if you have any insight yourself, because you've done it before, feel free to add it so that we can help each other out. Y'all have fun, be safe, make good choices. Have a great day.